There is one story that has been almost completely ignored by most of the media in the United States, and it's one of the most important stories of our time. In fact, it will shock you. And you want to understand what a traitor Barack Obama is. The virulence of his anti-American agenda and how he will go to no lengths to undermine his own country. There is a story up on michaelsavage.com. It was the top story yesterday. It's a little bit lower today. Over the weekend, President Obama invited the Islamist president of Egypt to attend the White House for a one-on-one meeting. This president of Egypt, by the name of Mohammed Morsi, is a former member of the Muslim Brotherhood. In fact, he renounced his membership just before he ran for the presidency of Egypt. This man, Mohammed Morsi, is a self-avowed Islamist. He believes in the agenda and the plan of the Muslim Brotherhood. And what is that ideology? What is that plan? The Muslim Brotherhood calls for the destruction of the Jews all over the world. The Muslim Brotherhood calls for the annihilation of Israel. The Muslim Brotherhood demands that every Christian in Egypt be religiously cleansed or murdered. This very same Muslim Brotherhood, this very same Islamist president, is reaching out to Iran's president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. He is part of radical Islam's march to world power. They are in bed with Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood. And this Islamist, this man who calls for the destruction of Israel and the mass murder and cleansing of Christians, this man who backs Iran's Hitler, is now being literally given the welcome mat. They're going to unroll the red carpet for this man to come into the White House, roll out the red carpet. And if you want to understand who this new leader of Egypt is, I'm going to play some clips for you, and you're going to see exactly the kind of man he is. And what you can't see are the visuals. This is what's even more stunning. At a rally that officially kicked off Mohammed Morsi's presidential campaign, the person that introduced him was a prominent radical Muslim cleric by the name of Safwat Higazi. And what Higazi tells a massive throng of people, tens of thousands, waving the green Muslim flag, all of them, it eerily was reminiscent of the Nuremberg rallies under Hitler, where here you have this cleric chanting out the most obscene, sadistic lines and phrases, and the crowd chanting back and talking back in return, with almost this kind of harsh Hitlerian voice in this that this cleric is echoing, almost literally, eerily reminiscent of Hitler. And what does this cleric say as Morsi, who was then a candidate, he's now president, is literally sitting in the front row listening to him and clapping enthusiastically along with the crowd? The cleric says that Mohammed Morsi will restore, quote, the United States of the Arabs, with Jerusalem as its capital. From the eyes of all Jews, come on, you lovers of martyrdom. Banish the sleep from the eyes of all Jews. Banish their sleep. Kill every one of them. And then, this is something even Hitler never said in public. This cleric, yelling, chanting in Arabic, It almost sounds like a song when you hear it in the original Arabic. Says, there are 1 million martyrs that will descend upon Jerusalem, and they are ready to die. There are 1 million martyrs ready to descend upon Jerusalem, and they are ready to die. And the crowd starts chanting back. It's almost like a hypnosis, a mass collective hypnosis, and a kind of hysteria, utter hysteria being created at the prospect, at the thought of slaughtering all the Jews of Israel. This rally that we're going to play these clips right now aired on Al Nas television on May 1st, 2012, essentially a couple months ago. And I have to mention something else, because this is how craven and cowardly and frankly repulsive Obama's invitation to this Egyptian Islamist is. That very same president of Egypt, Mohamed Morsi, was recently banned from entering France to attend an Islamic conference there. France, the French, otherwise known as the Surrender French. They never met an enemy they didn't surrender to. Even the French don't want this man in their country, and they're the ones with the massive Muslim population. They're the ones that, in fact, have to be very sensitive to the sensibilities of their Islamic minority in France. Even they say he is so radical, so extremist, such a sadistic, violent anti-Semite, we don't want him in France. Don't come to France. So he's not welcome in France, but he's welcome in Obama's White House, not just in America. They're going to roll out the red carpet for this guy. He's going to be eating on our dime. I'm sure they won't be serving pork. I'm sure there won't be any wine. There won't be any alcohol. But he's going to eat well in our White House. Here is the cleric, in his own words, Safwat Hegazi, introducing Mohamed Morsi at this presidential campaign, where he says, Allah willing, Mohamed Morsi and his supporters and his party will create the United States of the Arabs. Boys, roll clip 14.
We can see how the dream of the Islamic Caliphate is being realized, Allah willing, by Dr. Mohamed Morsi and his brothers, his supporters, and his political party. We can see how the great dream shared by us all, that the United States of the Arabs will be restored, Allah willing. The United States of the Arabs will be restored by this man and his supporters. The capital of the Caliphate, the capital of the United States of the Arabs, will be Jerusalem, Allah willing. Our capital shall not be Cairo, Mecca, or Medina. It shall be Jerusalem, Allah willing.
That animal is going to be brought into the White House? That butcher? And did you notice, not only do they want to create a global caliphate, not only do they want to create the United States of the Arabs, but its capital will not be Cairo or Mecca or Medina, the birthplace of Islam, but Jerusalem. That's what they want. The cradle of Jewish civilization. That's what they want. That's who the president is inviting to the White House, to our house. My friends, everybody in the liberal media told us that the Arab Spring was a great, great event. In fact, our longtime ally for nearly 30 years, Hosni Mubarak, yes, he was a dictator. Don't get me wrong, I don't like dictators. But he was pro-American. He was pro-Western. He kept the peace with Israel. And Mubarak warned us repeatedly, if you overthrow me, if you pull the plug on me, you will not get democracy in Egypt. You will get the Muslim Brotherhood. And that's who Obama has brought to power in Egypt. And now, this man, Mohamed Morsi, is now going to be given a gala dinner in the White House come September. We have been betrayed. The people of Egypt have been betrayed. The Jews have been betrayed. And I have to say this to all Jewish Americans. Recent polls say that still 64% of the Jews in the United States who can vote plan to vote for Obama in 2012. Have you no shame? Your ancestors, your relatives, your cousins living in Israel, the memory of the Holocaust, and this man in the White House, look at the crowd that he runs with, and you don't have the honor, you don't have the self-respect, you don't have the integrity to vote against this man. The radical Muslims in Egypt, in Iran, in Libya, all around the world are now sharpening their knives to slit the throats of the Jews. And my question to you is a simple one, members of the Savage Nation. Do you believe it is appropriate for the President of the United States to invite and welcome the Islamist President of Egypt into the White House? Are you offended? And should the Republicans speak out? 1-800-449-8255. Jeff Kuhner, sitting in for Michael Savage on the Savage Nation. Savage.